Good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. This is Catching Up 2.0, yet another pre recorded show before we go live tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, just to cover all the stories that I couldn't get to last night. The past couple of weeks have just been jam packed with things that I feel we do need to discuss. So let's get into it. Starting with, let's see, coming from the businessinsider.com, Netflix's plan to charge people for sharing passwords is already a mess before it's even begun, reports suggest. Here are just the cliff notes. Netflix said it would charge users who let people outside their households use their account. It has been trialing this new policy in Costa Rica, Chile, and Peru. Users in Peru told rest of the world they hadn't seen any enforcement and the policy is confusing. I wish I could say that this is something new and surprising, but it is not. These companies put out these things, but there's really no way to enforce it. This is why no other streaming service is really concerned about who shares a password. They're concerned about the money that they're getting in. And unlike Netflix, everybody isn't trying to triple and quadruple their fees every month. Because how are you going to do it? In a day and age where you have VPNs, you have all sorts of things, how would you know? How would you know? There are people moving back in with their parents, moving in with grandparents, taking in all sorts of roommates. So there might be one person paying for Disney Plus, one person paying for Netflix, one person paying for HBO Max. And a part of their agreement is to share the passwords amongst each other. And they very well could be living in the same house. How would you know? And even if you said, oh, you got to enter in your zip code, how hard is it to send somebody the password and the zip code? And there's yet another update regarding Uvalde. Also coming from the businessinsider.com, lawmaker asked FBI to investigate police response to Uvalde massacre, including apparent failure to confront shooter. Once again, just the cliff notes. A Texas Democrat, of course, is urging the FBI to investigate the police response to the Uvalde school shooting. Republican Joaquin Castro wants the Bureau to provide a complete and comprehensive account. The request comes after reports law enforcement failed to confront the gunman for up to an hour. And online, it is available, the exact timeline of everything that happened. I am not going to show it here. Because the internet is forever, and I do not know if the siblings, the parents, the friends of the victims of that shooting will ever come across any of my shows, and that is not what I'm going to do. Just like I am not going to show any parts of the Twitch stream from the Tulsa massacre. It's not going to happen. Let's see. Coming from The Guardian. U.S. mass shootings will continue until the majority can overrule the minority. Guns symbolize the power of a minority over the majority, and they've become the icons of a party that has become a cult seeking minority power. The dots are easy to connect because they are so close together, and because they're the entry and exit wounds inflicted on U.S. society by the subculture whose sacrament is the gun. Texas, while tightening restrictions on abortion, has steadily loosened them on guns. These weapons are symbols of a peculiar version of masculinity made up of unlimited freedom, power, and domination of a soldier identity in which every gunslinger is the commander and anyone is a potential target, in which fear drives belligerence and gun owners' rights extend so far no one has the right to be safe from him. Pretty much said the same thing last night. If you missed that, go back and check out last night's show. Because, baby, if not using their noggin were people, let me tell you. And still on mass shootings, because we have a lot to tackle regarding this. This is not something that's going to go away or end anytime soon. And if you think that it is, I would love to live in that delusional dystopia with you, but unfortunately, I have to live here in the real world with the rest of us. Coming from slate.com, the staggering hypocrisy of officials who are blaming mental illness for mass shootings. Welcome to State of Mind. Oh, sorry. You know the names: Columbine, Virginia Tech, Sandy Hook, Parkland, Santa Fe, and now Robb Elementary. Once known only as places where parents would send their children to learn and play, these schools now and forever exist beneath the shadow of unspeakable tragedy and mass death. Another week has passed in America, which means we must collectively mourn another horrific tragedy of gun violence. And while this moment calls for action, we are already seeing elected officials dig in on what they feel is the root cause of yet another mass casualty shooting in the United States, and just the latest one that has robbed families of their youngest, most innocent members. Now, keep in mind, all year round, the GOP politicizes guns, gun ownership, the Second Amendment, all of these things. But when people are like, hey, what are you going to do about this? This is not right. Now, all of a sudden, don't make it political. It's mental illness. Because as we learned last night, they're trying to change and skew the statistics so that mass shootings look less white perpetrated. So they can once again tell you to look out for the black boogeyman and the brown boogeyman, but no one else. That seems highly politicized to me. You know, think about and look at their commercials, their ads. They are chock full of I'm a gun toting, gun owning, da 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 da. Okay. Isn't that making it political? Like, you don't get to pick and choose after you set the rule. Like, I have a rule in my house. Nobody wears shoes in my house. So if I've got everybody else walking in here saying shoes, I'm not going to strut in here because I want you to stare at my cute shoes and go, it's not a rule issue. It's not a rule issue. Is it though? Is it? Is it though? And hold on, let me see if I can find it because I do believe that it's in here. Here we go. And the Washington Post even reports that, oops, hold on, sorry, I went too far. Guns are all over GOP ads and social media, prompting criticism. I just bet it is, because GOP is like going Olympic over privilege. They have nothing but the Anglo audacity, hypocrisy, and contradictions. And coming from HuffPost, right-wing organization launches chilling map. Whoops. Right-wing organization launches chilling map marking schools as woke hotspots. A far-right Missouri organization has launched a disturbing map alerting followers to hotspots of so-called woke activity in the state. As of Monday, the 12 map locations all concerned educational institutions and linked to articles, videos, and tweets trashing things like critical race theory and diversity training. Why are they so afraid of this? Because I've seen a trend of white people trying to get the rest of us to believe that their heritage, their background, their genetic makeup, their phenotypes are diverse. So wouldn't you want to learn about it? I mean, y'all holding on to that one drop rule, because they'll do a 23 and me and find out they got 0.00000659992.6% of melanin. And now they're making 50 million videos talking about they're black and they proud. The information named at least 12 specific schools and school districts, particularly chilling in light of America's mounting toll of school mass shootings. The Liberty Alliance is committed to fighting back against the woke agenda permeating all across Missouri, reads a statement on the conservative group's website next to a state map prepped with spots. The first step in fighting back is uncovering their crazy ideas, from critical race theory to grooming toddlers with sexually explicit books, the statement added. That is why we have officially launched the Woke Heat Map, an interactive tool designed to expose the inane actions of the radical left. This map will alert Missourians of craziness happening in their own communities. So, where's the map where it shows your fellow conservatives that are sexual predators? Does the map pinpoint all of the Republican offices so people know where sex workers will be? Because the only ones exposing children to violent and sexually explicit material and behavior consistently and abundantly that goes unchecked and is always excused away, leaving thousands upon thousands of traumatized victims in their wake, are always associated with the staunch uber faux conservative Christians and the GOP. But and also now we have another crackpot theory. Now for this one, I'm going to let her video play, but I'm also going to play my response. So if you don't follow me on TikTok, you might want to run over there. Because if you think I'm just checking them here, nah. But here we go.
I know this is going to sound fucked up, but I don't care. People, if you don't think your children are safe at a school, stop using the school as a babysitting system. Pull them the heck out. You see what's going on. What do you think these kids are even being taught in school? Maybe you should all look up what the monster experiment was, because it never stopped. Look up the monster experiment. They just found better ways of doing it. Stop sending them to a school where they can be shot up, and you ask for veterans to go stand out there with guns. What do you think is going to happen to the veterans standing outside of a school with a gun trying to protect the school? What do you think is going to really happen if you just notice that they're not being protected anyways, and you still send them to school? You're still sending them to school. Keep them home. Really?
Of course, right on cue, there is another white woman asserting her privilege onto everyone else as a method of quelling mass shootings at schools. So if someone is uncomfortable with their child, their grandchild, their family member going to a school, just simply pull them. Because you said stop using schools for babysitting as daycare facilities. Who's doing that? Because you're legally bound to send your children to school. So you find the best viable option that you have. Now, does everyone have the option to homeschool? No, everybody does not have the funds, the intellect, or the time to properly do that. Private school is not an option for everyone. Charter school is definitively not an option for everyone, but your privilege is showing. Then you toss in the Monster Project and tell people to research it because it's still going on. Did you research the Monster Project, which was an experimented, truly unofficially documented, non-peer-reviewed experiment from 1939 on orphans in Iowa regarding speech patterns? So tell me again how that's currently leading to mass shootings. Y'all are doing mental gymnastics to say anything regarding the core root of domestic terrorism within the United States. Number one, stop placing the blame on the parents of the victims. If you want to look at some parents, look at the parents of the perpetrators of the domestic violence. Stop trying to skew statistics. Stop trying to jump through all of these hoops. We know where the solution lies, and it lies in comprehensive gun reform. Period. Now, Privileged Patty, shut the fuck up. sit down, read some actual books, and get a tutor to work on your comprehension. Good day. And as you already know, she is quadrupling down in my comment section. Now her grandfather comes from the continent of Africa. Whoo, child. Anyway, coming from USA Today. Oh, and just so you know, the whole veterans standing outside of schools, that's also a GOP and a privileged idea. I believe we spoke about that last night because, instead of comprehensive gun reform, let's do that. And before you ask, no, she has not addressed anything that I actually said in the video. No one ever does. No one ever does. When you give them history, when you put things in context, when you give them facts, all they do is, like I said, I got 0.000657999922223.5% black in me. I had somebody come from Africa. You do know parts of the continent of Africa were colonized. Elon Musk came from Africa. So did his daddy, so did his mama. Still white. Stop conflating nationality, ethnicity, and race. They're three different things, darling. Think of it as a first, middle, and last name. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. They're coming from USA Today.com. Republican leaders yet to denounce racist replacement theory repeated by Buffalo shooting suspect. GOP leaders say they have never supported white nationalism or white supremacist ideology, but none of them will give a yes or no answer when asked if they denounce the great replacement theory. It is their holy grail. The fact that until now, specifically at Trump rallies, Proud Boys have never been turned away. They have no problem with Tucker Carlson and Fox Entertainment, aka Fox News, spouting off about replacement theory every 5 seconds. Over 500 times on Tucker Carlson's show alone has replacement theory been stated or cited. Utterly ridiculous. But no, they're not going to denounce it because they know that's their manifesto. That is their manifest destiny. And as we touched on the past couple of nights, the former police chief from Ohio that bought and sold guns, coming from Fox19.com, former tri-state police chief avoids prison time in machine gun scheme. Durain LaCourse admitted to using his position to illegally help 2 firearms dealers get and resell 200 fully automatic machine guns. Excuse me. This is coming out of Addison, Ohio. A former tri-state police officer won't spend a day in prison for his role in what federal prosecutors say was a machine gun scheme, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Indiana. Dorian Lacrosse, 66, of Milford, was sentenced Wednesday in Indianapolis to 3 years probation, including 6 months home detention. U.S. District Judge Sarah Evans Barker further ordered that Lacrosse pay an $11,800 fine, an amount roughly equivalent to what authorities say he received from the gun dealers for his role in the scheme. Ooh, he doesn't get a profit and he gets to sit at home. Sounds about right. This is what we mean when we say the complexion for protection. And in case you thought that I forgot about little Mr. Kevin Spacey and his sexual shenanigans, coming from Variety.com, Kevin Spacey to voluntarily appear in British courts over sexual assault charges, avoiding extradition from the United States. Kevin Spacey has said he will voluntarily appear in UK courts over 4 counts of sexual assault charges and 1 charge of causing a person to engage in penetrative sexual activity without consent. The actor provided a statement to Good Morning America on Tuesday outlining that he is confident he can prove innocence. If Spacey does not voluntarily appear in the UK, British authorities plan to seek the actor's formal extradition from the US. Spacey can be formally charged only following his arrest in England or Wales. A spokesperson for Spacey provided the following statement to Good Morning America. I very much appreciate the Crown Prosecution Service's statement in which they carefully reminded the media and the public that I am entitled to a fair trial and innocent until proven otherwise. While I am disappointed with their decision to move forward, I will voluntarily appear in the UK as soon as can be arranged and defend myself against these charges, which I am confident will prove my innocence. Okay. I'll wait. And as always, we got some Marjorie Taylor Greene shenanigans. Take a look.
That the government totally wants to provide surveillance on every part of your life. They want to know when you're eating. They want to know if you're eating a cheeseburger, which is very bad because Bill Gates wants you to eat his fake meat that grows in a Peachtree dish. So you'll probably get a little zap inside your body and that say, no, don't eat a real cheeseburger. You need to eat the fake burger, the fake meat from Bill Gates. They probably also want to know when you go to the bathroom and if your bowel movements are on time or consistent. I mean, what else do these people want to know? You have to.
Okay, I don't know what a Peachtree dish is. I know what a Petri dish is, but I also, the GOP has like two main boogeymans: George Soros and Bill Gates. Like all of a sudden, these men, according to them, have their hand in some of everything. They're trying to control the world through everything, through donations, through the Illuminati, through fake meat. Like, girl, vegans and vegetarians exist. Veggie burgers, Beyond Meat, all of that has been existing. You think Bill Gates is behind that? That's what you think is going on? And the government wants to watch you for everything. You're the one supporting the government being able to watch everything that everybody has going on, especially women. You are pro in vitro and pro forced birth. Mrs. You can't keep your legs closed to anybody except for your husband. Little Miss, you're stealing money from donors so you can go get a brand new luxury SUV that you want to have all these, you want to now do all your interviews in. But I guess, and for those of y'all that think that there is not a war on black people, check out this video.
We brought blacks into this country as slaves. We never intended them to be anything other than a slave. But they began to grow in number and in power, and eventually they fought their way to some freedom. So we became even more cruel, and to keep our black Americans down, we lynched. But yet they rose. So then we used the welfare system, the criminal justice system, to keep them down, to contain them, to destroy them. But yet they rose and they're rising. Then we built prisons and jails to hold them. Yet they rose. And so now we are doing exactly what the Pharaoh did at the end, sending out a decree, kill them. Our nation may end up facing exactly what the Egyptians faced when they refused to let God's people go. So I'm going to say this to my white fellow Americans, that the bloodshed that is on its way is not on the hands of our fellow black Americans, but is on our hands. We are the ones that are refusing to let God's people go.
For all of you Bible thumping, foot washing, true blue, or faux as they go Christians, you can find everything else any way you want to in the Bible, but you couldn't figure that out. You couldn't realize that you are repeating. You are repeating. You are going down the yellow brick road. that the Pharaoh paved for you. You are about to receive his fate. When you look at it, you're following that same blueprint. It's just you are looking at when your pastor tells you about Pharaoh, you're looking at those events as if they all happened within a week or within a year or within one generation or within a decade. 40 what and 40 what? There were generations that needed to be freed. Generations. But for that, we are all caught up. I will see you tonight for Freeform Fridays. And tonight we'll have a little bit of humor and a little bit of other updates. See you tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, each one teach one, each one reach one.